Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk about the Samsung Galaxy Tab A 10.1 inch 2019 model. What a mouthful. This is one of Samsung's budget tablets, and I think it's a budget tablet, starting at $229. If you want to know the specs for this, I'll leave it down below. I will mention a few specs that I feel are important as to really knowing the device. One of those being the 32 gigs of internal memory, the 2 gigabytes of RAM, an octa-core processor, and the panel and the display is a 1080p essentially, but the actual resolution is 1920 by 1200. As always, put specs aside, let's talk about real world usage, right? So I want to start off by saying Samsung really nailed it when it comes to feeling premium in the hands with this device, because when I got it, I was like, dang, this is actually not bad. I would have expected maybe something to feel a little more cheap, but this feels very rough. The aluminum feels great in your hands. It just has a really nice feel to it. I think honestly, they knocked it out of the park here to make you feel like you're actually purchasing something of value. Now, one thing that's interesting on the build that they did is right here on the side of the display, they have this little raise along the edges. At first it was a little off-putting because I'm like, what is that for? But to me, I kind of picture it as maybe this is something that essentially when kids have it, it can give them a little bit of a little extra grip when they're holding the display, or even us adults. But yeah, I think that raise is pretty interesting. Now, design aside, because I do like it, I think the things that we want to focus on this specific tablet is going to be the display, the speakers, and the processor that you get on this. So as I mentioned, for the display, you're gonna get a 10.1 inch Full HD 1920 by 1200 display. Now look, this isn't gonna blow you away. It didn't blow me away. At this point, I'm used to OLED, so I kind of was a little let down. But at the same time, I had to push those feelings aside because going back to a TFT panel, remembering that this is an HD panel that you're getting for $229, watching content on here is actually really fun, and I actually like that the most. Now, one thing about the display though, it does have these weird like viewing angles. You're gonna get some weird color shifts and whatever, but I mean, let's be fair, you don't even watch stuff at an angle, right? But when it comes to watching movies, it's not only about the display, we are gonna have to talk about the speakers. So software-wise, Samsung does offer Dolby Atmos, which basically is a little feature that what you do is you turn it on. These speakers, I guess, to me in my ears, they just get louder, just a bit, enough to give you like a nice little oomph to what you're watching. But the thing is, it has that, but it wasn't turned on out of the box. So when I was using this and I was watching movies and such, I kind of felt like I kind of feel like they're missing something. So I realized it was turned off, I turned it on, and the speakers are actually not so bad. But here is a dilemma I have about the speakers, because I have to keep in mind that, again, I only paid $229, I mean plus tax for this, but for $229, right? You get speakers that actually sound nice to watch content. They get pretty loud, and I think they sound fine for what you're paying for, right? But the problem is, they only sound good at like the 3 or the 4th max volume levels, because anything under that, it's just so obnoxiously quiet. I know, and that sounds weird to say. So it's like, I'm saying the speakers are good, but they're also not. It's a weird predicament I'm in. So like personally, if you're gonna use these to watch stuff out loud, you need to have it raised up, or else it's just not gonna sound very good because it's so low. Clearly that's something they had to sacrifice in order to get this price down there, but they're not horrible, but they're not amazing. They're just, I don't know. Now, before I get into the processor, there is a camera on here. It's an 8 megapixel in the back, a 5 megapixel selfie camera. You can shoot photos, you can record videos. Guys, this isn't very good. I mean, honestly, again, for what you're paying for, this is absolutely understandable. The best way I'll put it is, you got a camera. There you go. So to end this, I want to talk about the processor, because that's honestly important to any device. And the thing is, with this one, you have an octa-core processor, which doesn't sound too bad. But the problem is that it also only starts with 2 gigs of RAM, and if you bump it up by $100, you can get 3. But look, honestly, the processor is really where you're gonna see the value of what you're getting. And I mean that in the sense, like, you got yourself a budget tablet here, because unless you spend so much more money, and this is where Android devices get a bad rep for, unless you spend a lot to get the premium stuff, you definitely can notice that you don't have a high-end model, because the software hiccups, it can slow down, there's occasional stutters. Now look, my experience has been pretty fluid for the most part, but there has been times where this has stopped on me. There's been times where it's hiccup nasty. It takes forever sometimes to load videos. I don't know what it is with the software. I did get one software update that has cleared up a good amount of these problems, But overall, I think that is where you're gonna notice the power and what you're paying for in terms of you definitely got a budget device here. Now, keep in mind again, for $100, not only do you get the extra gigabyte of RAM, but you also get 128 gigs of storage as opposed to 32. And that's where my problem lies with this device, because I gotta be honest here, you could spend that money and just get Apple's iPad, their 7th generation iPad that came out last year. And you get a better processor. It definitely handles a lot more than this can handle. You can even play games better, such as like Fortnite. You can't even play Fortnite on this tablet. You gotta play Fortnite somewhere else. And that's where the problem lies with someone like myself who genuinely likes Android more than Apple. Apple's devices sometimes, especially their tablets, are just so hard to beat because of just how well optimized they are as opposed to this. You can play games like Call of Duty Mobile and such, but at the end of the day, guys, look, this is definitely a $229 tablet, meaning you are definitely paying what you get for. My problem is if you're gonna spend the extra $100 to get the 128 gigs, and if you're gonna get that extra gigabyte of RAM, I really recommend you also looking into Apple's iPad, but I wanna say it like this. Get the iPad if you're gonna use this more for productivity, because believe it or not, I prefer that for like video editing and such. If you wanna buy this needs to be like your child's tablet, or if you're like me and you're gonna use it this way, you're just gonna occasionally watch content on here and maybe use it as a backup in case your main device just bails. All right, I spoke a lot more than I thought I would about this tablet, but at the end of the day, guys, the decision is yours. Overall, I'm gonna keep mine, use it as a backup, or maybe even give it to a family member if they need it. But if you guys like this video, please, down in the comment section, leave anything you have to say, any questions you have about the tablet, anything at all, I would like to read it. If you did like this video, go ahead and give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe for any more future content I have coming out. Again, I have content, I want people to watch it, so stay with me. All right, but thank you guys for watching this video. I hope I helped you with your decision. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.